Welcome to investingnews.com. We're once again speaking with Bruce Lane from American Uranium. Welcome back, Bruce.
Hi, John. It's good to be back again.
You're welcome. First of all, for investors, how does the recent test work at Lo Herma provide proof of concept?
Yeah, this testing was targeting a better understanding or confirmation, validation, if you like, of the conditions in the aquifer. And look, what we're looking for there is, because our ore body is hosted in sandstone in an aquifer, and our method of mining is to liberate the uranium into that aquifer and then draw it back to the surface. The performance of the aquifer is absolutely vital. So what we were looking for is, one, to validate that the pumping rates we could experience with that aquifer were in line with our scoping study assumptions of around 20 gallons per minute. And so we were able to demonstrate that, which was great. And also just to benchmark the performance of the aquifer against other projects in the surrounding area. So there's 7 permitted facilities, a number of which are operating in very close proximity, one of which is Cameco's Smith Ranch Highland, the largest in the US in ISR, which is about 10 miles to our east. So we're looking to benchmark the aquifer conditions against those deposits. And the great thing is that we seem to have analogous conditions there, and that bodes well for us being able to build an in-situ recovery uranium mine.
What are the goals of the upcoming mineral resource estimate?
Yeah, so we completed 50 holes in late December and managed to define 3 kilometres of additional mineralised trend to the north of our proposed mine units 1 and 2. And so the goal of the resource update that we're doing is to bring that data into our resource model, and the objective is to grow the resource in the first instance. It'll also have some bearing on our understanding of the confidence of the resource and help us plan the next phase of drilling. And the next phase of drilling is likely to be targeted at infill, which is about improving the confidence levels to bring into the scoping study. But there'll also be opportunities to do further exploration to expand the size of the deposit during that phase of drilling as well. So look, it's important for us. We think that we can get that work done within the next few weeks, and hopefully we'll have something to say about it soon.
Now, a real key point, Bruce, has the recent rally in uranium been reflected in the valuation of companies in the sector?
Oh, we've seen some movement up, no question. I think a sustained long-term uranium price of around 85, 86, as it's reported, is certainly encouraging. I think if you listen to Grant Isaacs from Cameco, he would, whether it's directly or between the lines, suggest that the term price for uranium delivered out into the future over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years under new contracts is likely to be above $100. But what we get from the price report is a snapshot, and it's showing steady movement upwards. So that's a good indicator. Spot price has obviously moved up, more into that sort of $85, $86 mark, and I think that's encouraging. But I think what's more encouraging even than that is this flow of news around the development of nuclear power and all of the Trump administration's, the current administration's support programs that have been put in place, including the Defence Procurement Act consortium to put some juice into the nuclear fuel supply chain. And so there's a heck of a lot of activity going on in the US targeted at supporting the nuclear power industry.
So just touching back on that last point, Bruce, how has the importance of US domestic uranium changed in, say, the past 12 months?
Yeah, I think it's been viewed as important for, longer than 12 months. I think what the administration and the industry are trying to do is work out how best to support the industry and what forms of support will help to get more uranium out of the ground. And the fundamental issue has been that there are a number of state-owned entities around the world, including Rosatom, which is owned by the Russians, who used to own Uranium One, the Chinese, the French. They have different incentives to the commercial mining sector in the US, and so they've been, along with the historical glut in uranium, which is now gone. They have, I guess, always maintained a kind of pricing pressure over the sector. And that's meant that the uranium price has been sub-economic for producers, commercial producers, not just in the US, but around the world, certainly in the last decade or so. So what, we've got to find a way to support and stimulate the industry so that it actually does come back to life because of its strategic importance across the board in the US in terms of supporting their energy systems. They're looking for support systems and stimulus that's really going to help the industry prosper over the long term and sustain. And so I would say, the work that's being undertaken right now as we speak is going to be pivotal in terms of getting that outcome going forward. And the good news is that it is happening. It genuinely is happening. And it's not all talk. There will be actions out the back of it. And that's what we've seen in the critical mineral space. And we'll see more of it going forward.
Finally, for investors, just some key catalysts and potential milestones to look out for in 2026.
Yeah, the big things are the resource update, which, look, our ambition is to get that out this quarter. Then following on from that, we'll have a better definition around our plan going forward for the next phase of exploration. And there's probably a couple of parts to that. One is, as I mentioned before, we would look to do some infill drilling to help us to get to a scoping study update with a higher confidence resource. We've got 32% indicated at the moment within the resource, within the scoping study. What we want to do is increase that, but also the global resource. We're at 8.57 million pounds over the project. We had about 6 million pounds under the study. So we want to push that number up and increase the mine life. So those are the objectives of the next phase of exploration. The other thing from the Petrotech report, and bearing in mind Petrotech are a recognised expert in ISR mining hydrogeology within our region and have been doing it for many years. And part of what they gave us was a report which recommended further actions and activities going forward, including building more water wells to get the water monitoring underway so we can get on with permitting. And so we'll look to potentially do some of that work this year, but certainly we'll kick off the intensive study that's required to get into that first phase of permitting. Our scoping study suggested that we could be in construction and in the 28-29 window, which gives us, the possibility of getting to production in the 29-30 window, albeit that, our scoping study, we need more indicated resource in the study for us to be able to, publish all of our forecasts. But that's our sort of, I guess, the macro view of what the project's potential is.
Very busy times, Bruce. Thank you very much for updating investors again today, and we'll chat again soon.
Yeah, great. Thanks, John. We'll talk again soon.